Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Please do not be intimidated by the length of this one. I know it's going to be a long one. We're doing something kind of fun today. I discovered this thing. I mean, not that I discovered it, but I stumbled across this thing on Reddit that led me into a spiral, and I was like, you know what? I have to do this and I have to document it, and I'm excited to do so. I'm talking, of course, about the Criterion Challenge. This is something that's been going on for a few years now that I was not aware of. And then I recently became aware of it and I decided I'm going to do it. 2025 is the year that I'm going to do it. So I'm going to be making a list on Letterboxd of all of the movies that I plan to watch in order to complete the Criterion Challenge. Now, if you've never heard of the Criterion Challenge, we are going to go right over and check out this Letterboxd user. You can see my screen right now, named Ben. I believe it's just Ben. And I don't know if Ben has some affiliation with Criterion, the Criterion Collection, but they do follow him, so that's pretty cool. But Ben, if you're out there, thank you for doing this. I am excited. So he has this thing called the Criterion Challenge, and there's a list, so you can go on here on Letterboxd, you could find the challenge, and it lays out the rules essentially, but the idea is that there are 52 categories, and you should be watching one movie a week that, number one, fits with one of the categories on the list, and two, is in the Criterion Collection. It says here your choices can be any films released by Criterion on 4K, Blu-ray, DVD, VHS, Laserdisc, or ones that have been featured on the Criterion Channel streaming service. Now that is an important caveat there. It does say in parentheses, although I'd prefer if you choose films that they've actually put out themselves. Understandable. But I guess a lot of people might not have the capability of buying 4Ks, Blu-rays, DVDs, etc. And like I myself am someone who uses the Criterion Channel streaming service all the time. So what I've done here is I've basically duplicated this list. And below we have the categories, but we'll get to that in a second. So yeah, I've duplicated this list or cloned this list, and I have my list right here, and it has all the categories. As you can see, started January 1st, 2025. I have already completed one of the 52 films that we're going to get to in a little bit. But I figured I would take this opportunity to go category by category, and we're going to go down through it, and we're going to build this list in real time, essentially. Rather than going through all of these lists here and going to the Criterion website and whatever, I already made these selections, so I'm essentially just going to tell you what my short list is, and then I'm going to pick one film to be the selection, and I'm also going to pick one backup. Just going forward, that's how this is going to work. There's going to be a selection that I hope to watch for that category. But if not, if for whatever reason I'm like in the middle of the week and I'm like, you know what, I'm really just not feeling like watching The Kid or whatever, then maybe I'll watch one of my backup films that I have in the short list. Another thing to note here is I am trying my hardest to only watch films that I've never seen before. And this is, pretty easy. I haven't seen nearly everything on the Criterion Channel, or Criterion Collection. So I am, that shouldn't be too hard. That should be everything. So let's start with the first category, which is watch a film from the CC40 box set. Now, I went through the list, and we could pull it up here just to show you what we're working with. And so this is the CC40 box set on the Criterion website. I could put links to all of this stuff in the description, but it says films in this set, and you scroll down and there's a bunch of them in this set. One of these days, maybe I will pick this up for myself. So I'm going to go back to my list, and there were really two movies that I thought worked out for this. So on my list, I'm going to be adding Tokyo Story from Yasujiro Ozu, and my backup film is Weekend by Jean-Luc Godard. I don't know much about Tokyo Story, but I have heard plenty of people praise it. I mean, it's on the CC40 box set for a reason. And so that is my pick and my backup. Now that we understand how this is going to work, let's start rolling through some more categories. Next category, watch a film from the year you were born. If you had to guess, what year do you think I was born? I'll wait. You can leave it in the comments. Pause it right now. Go down to the comments and try to guess what year I was born. Okay, are you back? Well, if you guessed 1996, then you are correct. So for year I was born, I decided to go with, where is my list? I decided to go with Secrets and Lies from Mike Leigh, mainly because Hard Truths is out and I'm going to be seeing it next week, I believe. And Mike Leigh is a filmmaker whose films I haven't seen very many of, and he's got a lot of them out there. I believe I've seen Naked. I know I've seen Naked, but there is at least one other one that I know I've seen. But Secrets and Lies is my pick for the second category. And my backup or runner-up is actually a film I've seen already. So I don't want to, ideally I don't have to see it. I could just watch Secrets and Lies. But it is Basquiat, which is a movie that I love. And it's got a great Jeffrey Wright performance as Jean-Michel Basquiat, an artist who I deeply admire, both Jeffrey Wright and Basquiat themselves. So there it is. There is the second category. You'll notice I'm already on here. I'm a little bit ahead of myself, but I added Cure because that is a film that I watched just last night, and I added to this list, and I wrote in my note category number 45, Asian film, but we will get to that when we get to the 45th category. All right, what do we have next? Next we have directed by Robert Altman. Robert Altman, legendary filmmaker. I've probably only seen a handful of his movies. And my pick for a Robert Altman film is going to be The Player, with a backup being Nashville. Now, I think a lot of people out there might be like, Nashville should be your number one, and then The Player should be your backup. But I have a feeling that Nashville might come up later in this list. So let's just be patient. Also, I've got my hot coffee here. I'm going to drink it while it's hot. Okay, too hot. Gotta let it sit for a little bit. Okay, next category. Watch a film that would be your first choice on the Criterion closet. Now, obviously, this would be a hard one to pick if it was a movie I hadn't seen before. So we are going to go with a film that I have seen before. And actually, while I'm here, I may as well pull it out. I've got my top pick, and then I've got my backup pick. So I'm going to pull both of them. All right, so here we are. My top pick for this category would be All That Jazz, directed by Bob Fosse. Bob Fosse is honestly one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. He's made, in my opinion, 3 absolute classic movies, like 3 of the best movies of all time: Cabaret, All That Jazz, and Lenny. Lenny is in my top 4 on Letterboxd. And I really wish Criterion would put out a Criterion disc of Lenny. I would love that. I do have Lenny on DVD, but it just doesn't cut it. I'm so glad that I got this All That Jazz Criterion disc. It's just a DVD. It's not a Blu-ray, but this was the first ever Criterion that I got. And then just for Christmas, I got my backup, which is The Graduate, which is another one of my favorite films of all time. I feel like I'm doing a Criterion closet right now, but I only have like 2 other Criterions outside of these 2. I'm not a big Criterion disc collector just yet, but maybe as time goes on, I will be. But anyway, so let's go back to my list and put in All That Jazz. It is one I've already seen before, but it is truly one of the greatest films ever made, in my opinion. So that's that category, and let's move on. Next one is great soundtracks. So this was from a Criterion list. Let's see if I can go find it. Yeah, here it is. So on the Criterion Collection, they have this whole list of great soundtrack movies, and I'll do a brief scroll through here, but I already know what I picked, and actually I found it right up here. So my pick is Dogfight. Dogfight is my pick, directed by Nancy Sakova, or Sakava. Growing up, I was a huge, and still am, huge River Phoenix fan, and when I was younger, I made it a point to try to see all the movies he was ever in before his tragic passing. And this was one that was always a blind spot for me, so I actually haven't seen it. So my pick is Dogfight, with the backup being, I haven't entirely picked, but it is a film by Greg Araki, either Totally Fucked Up or Doom Generation or Nowhere. This whole sort of teen apocalypse trilogy is my backup. One of these films in this trilogy is my backup. Yeah, he's a filmmaker who has always kind of eluded me, but I'd like to watch some more of his stuff because he's pretty widely regarded. So Dogfight in that category. Let's move on. Up next, John Turturro's Adventures in Moviegoing. So there's a nice little letterbox list by Criterion of John Turturro's Adventures in Moviegoing. not too many here. So my picks from this list here are I'll tell you my runner-up. My runner-up is going to be Divorce Italian Style. And then my pick is Seven Samurai. So Seven Samurai is a film that is by Akira Kurosawa. And I haven't seen any Akira Kurosawa films. And we're going to see going through this list, he is someone who I picked time and time again for a lot of these categories because he's someone who is an incredible blind spot for me. And I really need to watch a lot of his movies. So Seven Samurai is the first one of his on this list, with the backup being Divorce Italian Style, a film that I know next to nothing about. So let's go to the next category, which is 1920s, a film from the 1920s, which is a decade that I tend to neglect. I think a lot of people out there, plenty of cinephiles also probably neglect the 1920s. I decided to go through the Criterion collection website and find some movies from the 1920s that I think would be good. And my pick is The Kid. The Kid from Charlie Chaplin came out in 1921, right at the early part of the decade. I don't really know much about it. I know it's well regarded. I haven't seen too many Chaplin movies. I really haven't seen much from the 1920s. My backup for this, I have two backups, so I'll name both of them, are The Lodger and The Passion of Joan of Arc. Those are two backups that as I was looking through the list, I was like, these also sound pretty interesting. So I'm going to put these on the list. But yeah, so The Kid is my pick for that category. Next category, watch a film that will be added to the physical collection in 2025. Check out this list right here, coming soon in 2025. And my picks for this one, let me see if I can find them on here. Where do I have it? There it is. My pick is Drugstore Cowboy, the Gus Van Sant, Matt Dillon film that I don't really know much about. My backup is going to be The Grifters, with another backup being Night Moves, starring Gene Hackman, directed by Arthur Penn. So I don't know much about Drugstore Cowboy, but I'm a big Gus Van Sant film fan. I mean, I love Good Will Hunting. You know, I love My Own Private Idaho. I love Jerry, maybe a lesser known Gus Van Sant, but we're going to put Drugstore Cowboy right there on the list. All right, we've got a pretty good list going so far, and we've only been rolling for about 20 minutes. Let's keep going. Okay, 1930s, much like the 1920s, a bit neglected by me, unfortunately. But I did go through the list, and my pick for a 1930s film is The Lady Vanishes, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Hitchcock is another one who, I mean, I've seen the hits of his. I've seen your Vertigo, your Rear Window, your Rope, your Psycho. But some of his early work, stuff that he made in the 30s, I haven't seen. So I'm curious about The Lady Vanishes. I don't know much about it. And I thought about switching these because my backup is one that I'm also very, very interested in, which is Stagecoach, which I believe is directed by John Ford. I can go either way. This is going to be one of those scenarios where whatever I'm feeling on the day, if I look at The Lady Vanishes and I look at Stagecoach, I might be like, I'm feeling Stagecoach instead of The Lady Vanishes. So The Lady Vanishes is my pick for the 1930s. Up next, we have Andrew Garfield closet picks. So let's just briefly go over and see what Andrew Garfield picked. There we go. Okay. I have some already blocked off. Like I've seen Brazil, I've seen The Game, I've seen Naked. So for this, I actually picked one that I was planning on watching recently, which is Tampopo. I've never seen Juzo Itami's Tampopo. I've always wanted to. The trailer I recently watched was like incredible, and I showed it to my girlfriend, and I was like, we gotta watch this. This looks fucking sick. My backup being the film Happiness by Todd Solondz. Yeah, Todd Solondz' Happiness, I don't know much about other than it will most likely make me uncomfortable. And I'm excited for it, I guess. I don't know. Next category, 1940s. Two films that I'm excited about. My backup is a film called There Was a Father, who I believe was directed by the same director of Tokyo Story, which was Ozu. Let me confirm that that's right. Yes. Okay. Whew, I got that right. So from the same director as Tokyo Story, Ozu made this film called There Was a Father. I don't know much about it, but I just kind of clicked on it and I was like, you know what? This looks kind of beautiful, sounds kind of beautiful. So that's my backup. But my pick for this is Le Corbeau. Le Corbeau. Let me see if I can find it. There it is, 1943, directed by Henri-Georges Clouzot. So there's a very specific reason why I picked this, and it is because I'm making it a point to watch every Clouzot film because he's made two absolute incredible bangers, in my opinion, that I've watched so far. First I watched a film called La Prisonnière, or Woman in Chains, which blew me away. And then immediately I had to go watch Wages of Fear because everyone was talking about Wages of Fear as being his masterpiece. And I got to agree, it blew me away even more than Woman in Chains. So I am going to make it a point to watch his entire filmography, if not this year, then just at some point. So Le Corbeau, literally know nothing about it. Don't know what it's about. Don't even know what Le Corbeau translates to, but we're going to watch it for my pick for the 1940s. All right, next category, Celine Song's Top 10. We're on category 12. Category 12 of 52. Hang in there, folks. So let's go to the list. Celine Song. So this is her list of top 10s, The Tin Drum, My Dinner with Andre, High and Low, Pina, The Age of Innocence, Barry Lyndon, The Celebration, Howard's End, Closely Watched Trains, and Everything is Going Fine. My pick for Celine Song's top 10 category is High and Low. Remember what I said earlier about trying to watch Kurosawa's films? That is going to be my pick with my backup. I was going to go with Age of Innocence, but I decided to go with something I hadn't really heard about from a filmmaker whose films I haven't really watched, is Howard's End, directed by James Ivory. In this category of Celine Song's top 10, I'm putting High and Low. I also have to watch it to prepare for the Spike Lee remake that is coming out this year, or should be coming out this year, hopefully. And I am excited to dive into Kurosawa's filmography, and I'm excited for y'all to join me. Let's go on to the next category. We got a lot of stuff to get through. Jeez Louise, look at that. Look at all that's left to go. All right, next category, 1950s. So for 1950s and every decade after, I have quite a long list of potential movies. So before I tell you my picks, I want to show you the list of movies that I came up with. So here is a list of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies that are potentials. My backup, I think, for this one is going to be, see, I don't want to crowd it all with Kurosawa. So my backup is going to be Rashomon. Okay, Rashomon will be my backup. And the one that I'm curious about is a film by David Lean, who's a filmmaker whose films I haven't really ever seen. I know he's made some pretty impressive ones, so don't come at me. But it's a film called Summertime, and I don't know much about it. It came out in 1955, but you know what? David Lean is my pick. Summertime and Rashomon, along with the others on that short list. Again, might just boil down to, if I'm not feeling Summertime, I might hop over to Rashomon, or I might do Ace in the Hole, or La Strada, or A Face in the Crowd, or 3:10 to Yuma. But we will cross that bridge when we get there. All right, next category. Watch a film from the Criterion Channel's all-time favorites list. Well, why don't we take a look at that list? I have 2 backups. I want to tell you my 2 backups, which are Birth, which is directed by Jonathan Glazer. Birth is, I don't know much about it, and Jonathan Glazer shot up on my list of filmmakers to watch after The Zone of Interest. I don't know anything about Birth. I mean, I have heard what it's about, and I've heard that it's also another sort of uncomfortable one to watch, but Nicole Kidman is in a lot. I feel like she's just like in my atmosphere right now in terms of like Baby Girl coming out, Golden Globes happening, awards stuff going on, and there might be some more later on my list, but that's one of my backups. The other backup that I have here is Stalker by Tarkovsky. The only Tarkovsky I think I've seen, if I have this right, would be Solaris. And I haven't really dove deep into much of his other stuff, but that's not my pick. My pick is Le Samurai, directed by Jean-Pierre Melville, starring Alain Delon, and I'm excited to watch it. I was recently working with someone on a job, and he told me that that was one of his favorite films of all time. So, I mean, I'm excited for it, and rest in peace, Alain Delon. He passed away recently. Next category, 1960s. So here is a list of movies. Let's see how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, another 6. My backup for this one, I think I am going to make it The Young Girls of Rochefort, maybe. I believe directed by Jacques Demy. And my pick, if you have been paying attention, is going to be the film La Verite. La Verite. Where is it? Okay, it's called The Truth, whatever. La Verite, directed by Henri-Georges Clouzot. As I just mentioned, I'm trying to watch as many of his movies as possible. Came out in 1960, so it counts toward that category. Category 16, watch a film that is currently out of print from the physical collection. All right, so these are all out of print DVDs or discs from the Criterion collection. There's a bunch of them on here. I'm not even going to scroll too far. I'm just going to tell you what my backup is. I actually have 2 backups for this one. One of my backups is this film called Flesh for Frankenstein. I don't know anything about it, but I really like the title. It came out in 1973. Yeah, I don't know who Paul Morrissey is. I've never seen any of his films, but the poster, and then I don't think I could show that on YouTube. I can't. There's an image down below, but I can't show that on YouTube. My other backup is going to be a film called Day for Night, which I believe is a Fellini movie. And my pick is actually right here on the screen. It's called Claire's Knee, directed by Eric Romer. I have never seen any of Eric Romer's films, but they always pop up when I'm perusing the Criterion channel. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot, starting with Claire's Knee, because that's the one I hear a lot of people talking about. Sorry. Okay, I'm back. I had to go get my laundry. My laundry was done at the laundromat. What category are we on? We just did which film is currently out of print from the physical collection. Now we are on the 1970s. So for the 1970s, I have another kind of long short list of films that are in contention. We have Drive, He Said, 5 Easy Pieces, The Last Picture Show, Sisters, Nashville, Shampoo, Mirror, Mr. Klein, The American Friend, and Days of Heaven. So I had a hard time picking one, and actually I didn't end up picking one. I just got to have this list here, so I got to make it up on the spot. You know what? Since I passed on Nashville earlier for the Robert Altman, maybe I make that my pick. Oh, God, what a tough decision. No, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make Nashville my backup, but I'm going to make my official pick, drumroll please, Sisters, directed by Brian De Palma. Just the other day, I watched Body Double, and I kind of fell in love with it, and I kind of was reminded why Brian De Palma is such a legend and why he's one of those people who should be in the conversation with people like Scorsese and your Spielbergs and your Francis Ford Coppolas. I mean, the guy was there. He was with those guys, and, so films like Body Double, while I didn't necessarily love every aspect of it, there's a lot to love in that movie, and films like Blowout are another great Brian De Palma film. And a lot of his filmography outside of like those two, and maybe Carrie and Carlito's Way, and I'm sure I'm missing a couple other ones. Oh, I mean Mission Impossible, but like there's a lot of stuff that are blind spots for me when it comes to his filmography. So Sisters is going on the list, with Nashville being the backup. All right, next category. William Friedkin's closet picks. Just the other day, I watched Sorcerer for the first time. As a big Wages of Fear fan, I was excited to watch that. But let's take a look at William Friedkin's closet picks. We have Sunday, Bloody Sunday, Umberto D, All That Money Could Buy, M, Brute Force, Killing of a Chinese Bookie. So for this one, I picked Killing of a Chinese Bookie as my selection with, I think I did Brute Force. Yeah, Brute Force is my backup. Killing of a Chinese Bookie. Directed by John Cassavetes, who's another kind of blind spot for me. I have only really ever seen him as an actor, so I haven't seen any of the films he's directed, which, yeah, might be shocking to some of you out there. All right, next category, 1980s. All right, here we have another list of films that are going on the long list. All right, on this list, we have The Last Metro, Dressed to Kill, Kagamusha, Ran, Dim Sum, With Nail and Eye, The Last Emperor, Madawan, and The Seventh Continent. So this one might also kind of shock some people. I'm going to go with my backup being Dressed to Kill for the same reasons I mentioned before about Brian De Palma. I'm really trying to watch a bunch of his stuff. I would also maybe put Ran and Kagamusha, but my pick for this month is going to be The Seventh Continent. And you might be like, Why? Well, Michael Haneke is probably one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, but there's a whole section of his filmography that I have not seen. Basically, anything prior to the original version of Funny Games, they're kind of blind spots for me. You're The Seventh Continent, The Castle, or Benny's Video. So I'm trying to watch more of his stuff this year. A lot of his stuff from the 21st century are some of my favorite movies, to be honest. So I had never seen The Seventh Continent, and I'm excited to watch it, with Dress, To Kill, Kagemusha, and Ran being the runners up. There we go. Next category. Okay, spine number 451 to 499. So I did go through there. If you didn't know, you can go onto the Criterion collection and filter by spine number. We scroll down really far. So right in this section right here, I picked two films. So my backup is going to be My Dinner with Andre. I've never seen My Dinner with Andre, but it was a film I remember my dad telling me about when I was younger, by Louis Malle. And so that is not my pick. My pick is actually right here. It's a film called The Friends of Eddie Coyle. I was not expecting this just yesterday. This is going to sound so bizarre, but it's one of those like universe telling you things that you need to know. I was watching and one of those amoeba videos with none other than Jason Mantzoukas, where it's the What's in My Bag videos. And he pulls out, I don't know if he pulled it out, but he just started talking about this movie, The Friends of Eddie Coyle, directed by Peter Yates. And I've never heard of this movie, but the way he described it made it sound pretty cool. He made it sound like the 70s version of Ben Affleck's The Town or something like that. So that is my pick. We're going to put that right here on my list. The Friends of Eddie Coyle, right there, Peter Yates. All right, next category, the 1990s. Now we're talking. The 90s are a year that I have watched a lot of movies from. So I was actually kind of struggling to find some stuff that were on the list that I hadn't already seen, but also things that really interested me. We have things like Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, Metropolitan, Dreams, another Kurosawa, Malcolm X, Bound, and Afterlife. For this one, I again didn't make the pick beforehand, so I'm just kind of gonna make a pick right now. And I'm gonna say my backup is going to be Metropolitan. And that is a film that I keep passing over on the Criterion channel. And I'm just like, one of these days I'll watch it. It's supposedly a satirical comedy or something, directed by Whit Stillman, whose films I've never seen. My pick, I think, is going to be Dreams. Yeah, I'm going to do Dreams, directed by Kurosawa. So late period Kurosawa. So we're going to do that. Came out in 1990. For whatever reason, I feel like I keep picking movies that came out on the first year of the decade. So I don't know what that's about. Anyway, let's move on to the next category, which is documentary. Now, there are a lot of documentaries on the Criterion channel that I have seen already. Obviously, not all of them, not even close. So my backup is going to be Hoop Dreams for this category, and my pick is going to be F for Fake, which I've never seen before. You know what? Orson Welles, I think it was Orson Welles' last film. I don't know much about it, but I am looking forward to it. All right, next category is the 2000s. Now we're getting into the era that I was actually alive for. I have a whole list. I'm going to throw it up right here. We have The Piano Teacher, The Royal Tenenbaums, The Others, Memories of Murder, and Squid and the Whale. My backup is going to be The Piano Teacher. You know, I did just mention Haneke. Also, I just glossed over the fact that I've never seen The Royal Tenenbaums, and I apologize for that. But my pick is going to be Memories of Murder, because this is another one I feel like I should have seen. This is Bong Joon-ho. It is one of his earliest classics. So Memories of Murder, Bong Joon-ho, going in the 2000s. Category came out in 2003. It fits the bill. Next category, we have Janus Contemporaries. So there was a list of these. Let's see, there it is. These are all these Janus contemporary films that are on the Criterion collection. And my two picks, my backup is the film The Beast, which came out last year. I've heard great things about, but my actual pick is Evil Does Not Exist. I am excited to watch, directed by Hamaguchi. Don't really know much about it, and I have never seen any of Hamaguchi's work before. Or that's not true. He did Drive My Car. Yeah, I've seen Drive My Car. I forgot that he did that. On my list, Evil Does Not Exist for that category. Looking forward to that. I've heard some great things about it. I've seen it on a lot of people's top 10 of the year, 2024. All right, next on the list, where am I? 2010s. Okay, so we have the 2010s. I've got a pretty small list here, actually. We have Weekend, directed by Andrew Hai, director of All of Us Strangers, which is a film that I love, and I haven't seen, I don't think, any of his other movies. We have Le Havre, a movie that I know nothing about. We have Wildlife, directed by Paul Dano, and Minding the Gap, which I believe is a documentary, which I should have had in my documentary category, but maybe I was saving it for this. So I'm going to actually put Minding the Gap as my backup for this one, and Wildlife as my pick. I remember when this came out in 2018. I mean, I'm a huge Jake Gyllenhaal fan. I'm a huge Paul Dano fan. So anytime, an actor steps into the director role, there's something a little bit dangerous, a little bit exciting about it. So, yeah, I don't know anything about what this movie's about. I think it's an adaptation of a book, but I am looking forward to it. Big Paul Dano fan. Next category, my favorite category, I think, Bill Hader's second closet picks. So let's go ahead and look at these closet picks right here. He's got quite a bit. He was in that closet for a while. A few of my backups are La Dolce Vita, and then down here we have Perfect Days is a backup, and we have My Darling Clementine. Those are my three backups, but the one that I'm going with is one that I should have seen so long ago, and it's Barry Lyndon. I have never seen Barry Lyndon. There are a few Kubricks that are blind spots for me. Barry Lyndon is one of them. Lolita is another one, as well as like Spartacus. I'm really excited to watch. I've heard that it's one of the most beautiful films ever made. All right, next category, 2020s. So for this one, I have watched a lot of movies since 2020 that are on this list. I have three movies that are on this list. So my backups are going to be Bergman Island and EO, the one about the donkey. I remember when that came out, and I was excited to see it, and I never saw it for whatever reason. But my pick for this one is going to be The Worst Person in the World. There's a good friend of mine from college, and I'm almost positive this might be her favorite movie. If not, I see her logging it on Letterboxd like every other month or something like that, and it's like 5 stars. This is great. Yeah, I've only ever heard great things about The Worst Person in the World, so I am excited to watch that. All right, next category. Noir and Neo-Noir. So there was actually a list. I'm a big Noir fan. I've seen, I wouldn't say like half of these, but I've seen a good number of these. For this category, let me take a look. I have a good pick for this one, I think. So one of my backups is Drunken Angel, which is a Kurosawa film, which is right here. I also have Devil in a Blue Dress as another backup, and this film, They Live by Night. So those are my three backups that I'm excited about, but the one that I'm picking is all the way up near the top, and it is right over here, Diabolique, which is another Henri-Georges Clouzot. This one is going to be my pick. I really don't know anything about this, but a lot of people kind of put this in the same category as Wages of Fear in terms of talking about Clouzot's work. It's apparently one of his best, so I'm excited about it. It's a bit of a horror movie from what I understand. All right, all-time top Criterion closet picks. This is the next category, and there is another list for this, and we've got this. It's a long list. There are, I think, 13 pages in here, so I'm not going to run through this. I'm just going to tell you what my backups are. My backups are Close Up, Mon Uncle, and Ratcatcher, the Lynn Ramsey movie. And my pick for this one is going to be The Red Shoes, Powell and Pressburger's The Red Shoes. I've never seen it. Gotta see it. And it's on the list now, and I cannot wait. This is making me giddy. It's making me just want to like sit down and watch all these movies right now instead of talking about it. All right, next category, Criterion release, Never Picked in the Closet. These are interesting. I actually went through this whole thing and I was like, really? No one ever picked these? You would think someone would pick Drugstore Cowboy, right? Or Scarface, the original Scarface. Or Gummo. No one's picked Gummo. Come on. How has no one picked that? Okay, here's my pick. I have a backup, but it's not going to be a backup. This is a movie that I was actually planning on watching like this week or next week anyway. It kind of just came up in my life and I was like, man, how have I never even heard of this? I think I maybe heard the title, but never heard of it. It is Farewell, My Concubine. yeah, I saw the trailer for this of like a 4K restoration, and I was absolutely blown away. And I was like, I need to watch this movie as soon as possible. So Farewell, My Concubine is my pick. My backup is The Trial, the Orson Welles adaptation of The Trial. So that'll be my right over here. That'll be my picks for that. But I'm very excited for Farewell, My Concubine. It looks stunning. All right, next pick, North American film. Now, this one was a little bit tricky for me. I mean, I was mainly sticking to the United States, and I decided, I think that, actually, let me find out, whatever. So I was going through the list of films from North America, United States, Canada, etc. But so I have a list here. I have Ghost World, Red River, Heaven's Gate, Funny Girl, and The Day Trippers. I am making the decision now, live on air, that I'm picking The Day Trippers, and my backup is going to be Ghost World. I don't know anything about The Day Trippers, directed by Greg Mottola, came out in 96. I saw a clip of it on the Criterion Collection website, and it looked somewhat interesting. So it's on my list, and yeah, that's exciting. All right, next pick, Iowa Debris' Closet Picks. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. She had High and Low, Charade, Rushmore, Bottle Rocket, Thief, The Funeral, Tampopo. Tampopo's already on the list, so I got to knock that off. My backups are The Funeral and Charade, and my pick for this is actually Thief, which is directed by Michael Mann, starring James Caan. All right, up next, Wim Wenders' Adventures in Moviegoing. Yeah, so this is his Adventures in Moviegoing, and I got to drink this coffee while it's hot. I'm about to have to heat this up again. I've been doing this for so long, and I still have so many movies to go. Okay, the ones that I picked, my backup for this is Le Petit Soldat, and I don't know anything about it, directed by Jean-Luc Godard. My pick for this is The Merchant of Four Seasons. Again, don't know anything about it. Merchant of Four Seasons, directed by Rainer Werner Fassbinder. Yeah, half of the fun of this is not knowing anything about these movies, so I'm kind of going into a lot of this stuff blind, which is exciting. All right, up next, we've got South American films. So I went with, I had actually a few listed here, primarily from Mexico, but we've got Cronos, the Guillermo del Toro, Simon of the Desert, The Devil's Backbone, and Japon. I went with Cronos as my pick, with Simon of the Desert, which I believe is Louis Buñuel. Cronos is going on the list. Guillermo del Toro has Frankenstein coming out this year, so maybe I'll try to line it up around that. I will watch Cronos right before watching Frankenstein and doing a deep dive into more of his work. All right, next category. Oh, random number generator. This one will be fun. I'm going to do this live. I actually did this already, and I got a movie, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to go with that. But you know what? Fuck it. We're here. And we're going to do a random. Okay, so when you go to Google, you type in random number generator. So we have to pick the amount of Criterion discs that there are. So we got to go all the way down and find out what the last number is. So the last number is 1256. That is the last spine number. So we go back to our random number generator, 1256. Here we go. Moment of truth. I'm doing this live. There's no like editing trickery here. So you all know it's real. Generate 609. Are we ready to go find 609 here on the list? Here we go. Oh, just passed it. And 609 is Alambrista. I don't know anything about this. Robert M. Young came out in 1977. A Mexican farm worker sneaks across the border to California to make money to send back to his family. It's a story that happens every day. Is this a documentary or is this... I don't know anything about this, but I am now committed to watching it, which, hey, I'm not mad about. It looks pretty interesting. So we're putting Alambrista. I don't know what that means. Alambrista. There it is. Yep. Robert M. Young. All right. There it is. The one that I did get when I did this off camera was a movie called Miracle in Milan. That one sounded a little bit more interesting to me, but you know what? I'm going to stick to Alambrista. I don't know anything about it. All right. Next one is AAPI Filmmakers. Okay. So this one, we've got quite a list here. One that I already mentioned was Minding the Gap, and I think I made that my backup. So I'm actually going to make my backup for this one, Ang Lee's The Ice Storm, and I'm going to make my pick Sean Baker and Shi Ching Xiao. Oh, I'm going to fuck that up. I'm doing Takeout. Takeout is my pick for this one. It is one that I'm excited to watch. I love Sean Baker and everything he does. We're getting there, everyone. Whew. We're almost there. I feel like I've been doing this for actual hours. I think it's almost been an hour. All right, here we go. Watch a film shorter than 80 minutes. I did not do enough research on here, but I did find one movie that sounded interesting. It's a movie called Heart of a Dog. Let's see if I could find it. I believe, I think it's this one, maybe? I need to look it up. Not the 2015 version. There is 1988. Is that it? All right, maybe I need to look it up on here. Hold on. Heart of a Dog. Maybe it is the 2015 version. Is this the one? This can't be it. Oh, it's 75 minutes. Oh, this is it. Oh, okay. I had the wrong one. Let me go back to my list. Heart of a Dog by Laurie Anderson. I don't know anything about this. I saw that Wenders recommended it, and that guy generally has pretty good taste. It's going to be my pick for a film under 80 minutes. So that is going to be it. Heart of a Dog. Moving on to the next category. European film. This one's crazy. I had such a long list of movies that I wanted to watch. A lot of them are French and Italian, I'm not going to lie. But let me run through what I have on the list. Salò, or 120 Days in Sodom. Is that what it's called? We have Benny's Video, another Hanukkah, Donkey Skin, Purple Noon, Une Chambre en Vie, which I believe is a room in the city, Murmur of the Heart, and God Created Woman, Juliet of the Spirits, and the Canterbury Tales. I didn't pick which one was going to be my pick before doing this. I don't know which one to pick. I feel like it's not going to be Salò. I feel like I'm just going to keep punting that movie to like the next year and the next year and the next year because I frankly am a little bit afraid of that movie. God, this is tough. I think maybe I'll pick, I don't know, even that one. I want to pick one that's interesting. I'm going to pick The Canterbury Tales. I'm trying to remember who directed The Canterbury Tales. Pasolini. Oh, the same guy. The same guy who made Salò. That's right. What else did he? Yeah, so he made Salò. Yeah, I've never seen any Pasolini movies. So, he made Arabian Nights too. I haven't seen that either. But yeah, Canterbury Tales. I just saw that. I was like, maybe I'll do that. So, Canterbury Tales. Fuck it, is my pick for this. And as a backup, I'm going to do And God Created Woman because I believe that has Brigitte Bardot in it. Yeah, I mean, the poster is certainly inviting. Yeah, this one's going to be my backup, and The Canterbury Tales, I guess, is going to be my pick. God, I got to stop agreeing to do shit on camera because then I actually have to go through with it. But for all I know, people are going to go in the comments and be like, The Canterbury Tales is amazing. You should be excited about it, which I hope they do. All right, cult movies. So there's a whole list on Criterion Collection's website for cult movies. You can see it right here on the screen. Whole bunch of stuff. I knew immediately when I clicked on this what I was going to pick because it is a movie that all of my friends wouldn't stop talking about when I was in college. And I was like, I feel like I'm never going to watch this movie. And here I am now being like, I kind of want to watch this movie. And it is House right here, the second one on the list with a few backups. I already have Happiness as a backup somewhere else. So I'm going to put, let me see if I can find it, Robert Altman's Targets right here. No, sorry, not Robert Altman. Peter Bogdanovich's Targets. Peter Bogdanovich has made some pretty great movies. And this one's got Boris Karloff in it. I don't know. He's made Paper Moon. Paper Moon is, I think, maybe now in my top 100 movies ever made, as well as The Last Picture Show, which is incredible. Yeah, so I think House is going to be my pick, and then Targets is going to be possibly Repo Man. That's also on there. And there's another movie called Lure. Let me see if I can find it, because I've never heard of this. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the director's name, but this cover alone is pretty inviting. So that was cult movies. So next one is Isabella Rossellini's Adventures in Moviegoing. So my pick for this one is actually The Thief of Baghdad, which is another Michael Powell, Ludwig Berger, Tim Whelan movie. My backup is La Strada, but The Thief of Baghdad is going to be, where am I? I don't need that open. The Thief of Baghdad. Thief of Baghdad. That'll be my pick thank you, Isabella Rossellini, for your service. All right, up next, Winona Ryder closet picks. Here we go. Here's what she picked for her Criterion closet. I mentioned earlier that I haven't seen a lot of John Cassavetes movies. She's got a whole bunch of them here. So I'm not going to pick one of those. I'm actually going to pick A Woman Under the Influence as my backup. Hang in there. My pick is going to be Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai by Jim Jarmusch. I feel like I'm speeding through these last ones. I'm getting pretty tired. All right, I'm back and rolling. My camera battery was dying, so I had to change that. That's how long I've been doing this. But we're almost there. What was that, 42 or 43? What category are we on? That was, okay, so now we're on 42, which is African film. You'd be surprised, not a whole lot of African films on the Criterion collection. And that's not shots fired, but I was having a hard time picking something or finding something to pick. I have a backup, which is, this is not a burial, it's a resurrection. I don't know much about it, but then my actual pick is a film called Black Girl. And I don't know much about it, but I did some Googling and people said very, very favorable things about this movie. So this is going to be my pick for that category. So here we go. Black Girl, directed. There we go. Cool. Next, John Carpenter's top 10. Let's take a look at it. Double Indemnity, The Third Man, The Killers, Kiss Me Deadly, Only Angels Have Wings, Spellbound, Rebecca, Blow Up, Ace in the Hole, and Dead Ringer. Some really good ones on here. My pick is going to be Double Indemnity by Billy Wilder. I haven't seen very many of Billy Wilder's movies. My backup is going to be either The Killers or Kiss Me Deadly, but we're going to do Double Indemnity, directed by Billy Wilder from 1944 for that category. Thank you for your service, John Carpenter. All right, we are really, really getting to the bottom here. Thank you. Horror. We have horror. You could filter out through genre, and you can go to horror, hit apply, and then it'll bring you a bunch of horror movies that you can look through. So I'm going to give you a list of movies that I have right here on your screen. We've got Antichrist, Rosemary's Baby, Scanners, The Brood, Cat People, and the film The Others, which I mentioned earlier. I'm not much of a horror fan. This is tough for me. I think I'm going to do The Others as my pick. The backup being The Brood. Yeah, we're going to do The Brood as the backup, and we're going to do The Others. Hey, look at that. Another Nicole Kidman film. She's really popping up everywhere nowadays. Oh, and we're going to have another one in just a minute. Just you wait. We have another one, but first, we have Asian film, which is the one that I've already done. I watched Kiyoshi. Oh my God, dude, I'm getting so tired. I watched Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Cure last night, and that is going to fall under my category for Asian film. So we're going to move all the way down to category number 45. Look at that. Now we are on track. Everything is nice and neat in order. I loved it. This also could have gone under horror, but yeah. So I'm just putting that in this category. That category is already done, so I don't need to talk about it anymore. We are getting to the next category, which is dark comedies. Here we go. We've got a whole bunch of dark comedies from Criterion Collection's website, some of which I've already seen. Some of them are amazing. I love The Darjeeling Limited. I love After Hours. I love Dr. Strangelove. My pick for this one, Happiness, pops up on all of these lists. Like, what is that movie actually about? Sorry, my timer's going off. My laundry is done in the dryer. I'm going to have to get that in a minute. My pick is To Die For, another Nicole Kidman. I think this is her third appearance on my list. To Die For. I've been meaning to watch this for a long time. Another Gus Van Sant, too. I think that's 2 Gus Van Sants on this list. So my backups are going to be Divorce Italian Style, which I mentioned earlier, Election, The Funeral, which I mentioned earlier, The Last Days of Disco, which I believe is another Whit Stillman, and Man Bites Dog. Those are going to be the backups, but To Die For is my pick. Up next, Rachel Kushner's Adventures in Moviegoing. So let's head over here. Rachel Kushner, who I believe is a novelist, acclaimed writer, all around. My pick for this one is going to be, actually, let me tell you my backups. My backups are Mr. Klein and Sans Soleil. Those are, I don't really know anything about them. I know Alain Delon is in Mr. Klein, but my pick is going to be The Man Who Fell to Earth by Nicholas Roeg, starring David Bowie. This is another one of those that I feel like I see this poster all the time when I'm perusing movies to watch. And it's just one that I always just like kind of go right by. And I'm like, one of these days I'll watch that. So now I am committing to it. I actually have to watch it. All right, up next, female. No, not yet. Australian filmmaker. So for this one, when you go onto Criterion's website, and we could change the country of origin, we could change it to Australia, we could hit apply. There are not that many. There are just these 4. So my pick for this one is going to be Picnic at Hanging Rock, directed by Peter Weir, and my backup is going to be The Last Wave. I haven't seen too many of Peter Weir's movies, but I've heard good things about Picnic at Hanging Rock. So that is going on the list for Australian film. All right, up next, female filmmaker. I have quite a few backups for this one. So my backups for this one are Bergman Island, Ratcatcher, Daisies, which if you haven't watched the trailer for Daisies, watch that. It looks pretty interesting. Mudbound, and my pick for this one is Beau Travail, directed by none other than Claire Denis. This movie looks incredible from what I have seen, came out in 1999. That'll be my pick for a female filmmaker. 3 more categories. 3 more. That's it. We're almost done. Next one is Ben Wheatley's closet picks. Let's see what he picked in the closet. All of these. We got a bunch of good stuff. Crumb is one that I did put on my my list here, but I probably should have. So the ones that I'm doing, I'm going to do Seconds. That's going to be my pick, and my backup will be Rumblefish, directed by none other than John Frankenheimer from 1966. I've heard this is pretty good. I've heard it's also a bit of a horror movie, but we'll find out. I'm excited about that. Rumblefish is also pretty good, and depending on how I'm feeling, maybe I'll try to watch Crumb, directed by Terry Zwigoff. All right, this next category is one that I'm really interested in. A film by a director whose work you have not seen before. I had a hard time with this because, I mean, there's a lot of filmmakers whose work I have not seen before. And I was going through the whole list, and I came up with, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My backups are going to be All About My Mother, Broadcast News, Faces, Sid and Nancy, Easy Rider, directed by Dennis Hopper. I've seen plenty of Dennis Hopper movies, but I have never seen a movie directed by him, and Harakiri. But my pick for this one, I'm pretty excited about. It is going to be, drum roll please, Playtime, directed by Jacques Tati. This was a movie that I remember seeing clips from this movie, but I've never seen the whole thing. So I'm excited to watch the entire thing of Playtime and some more other Jacques Tati movies. All right, can you believe it, folks? We made it to the end. Any Criterion film from your watch list. I went through my watch list on Letterboxd. Actually, we could do it right now. Here's a bunch of stuff on my watch list. You can go to my page, and I think you can look at people's watch lists. Can you do that? I don't actually know. But anyway, some movies on my watch list that I want to watch. There's Straw Dogs is one of them. Ikiru is another one. True Stories and Mean Streets are on somewhere in here. Also Close Up, Stalker, Andrei Rublev, whatever. I'm just sort of going to pick one, but I think I want to go with Straw Dogs as my actual pick. Straw Dogs. Sam Peckinpah from 1971 with Dustin Hoffman. And there it is. That's the 52nd movie. Oh my God, that took so long. But we did it. It's going to take even longer to watch all these, so I got to prepare myself. I am excited to get through this, and I'm excited to sort of document my process going through it. I want to give another thank you to Ben here. You can still see his page on here. Hopefully he doesn't mind me putting this out there. This is really exciting. This is a cool thing to sort of get a community going and rallying behind a fun little challenge that you could do throughout the year. I urge everyone out there to do this yourself and maybe share with me your lists on Letterboxd. This is a great way to do it, is go to Letterboxd and just make a list and put the categories in. I'm going to hit save so I don't lose any of this work. But yeah, here's my list of movies that I have to watch this year. I'm going to force myself to do it. Some of them I am less excited about than others, but either way, I'm excited about all of these. Yeah, this is going to be cool. Thank you for sticking it out. If you made it all the way through this long-ass video, I don't know how long this is going to be, but I've been recording for, I think, an hour and a half, and I'm going to try to cut it down a little bit, but thank you guys so much. Go follow me on Letterboxd. Go hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified when new videos come out on this channel. Let me know how you're liking my videos so far. This has been a lot of fun. This is a whole new channel, so I'm kind of starting from scratch a little bit. But yeah, let me know how things are going with you guys, and I will see you all on the next one. Can't wait to do this Criterion challenge. See ya.